Okay, so finally we're on our last T. So we're going to revisit the title. So what new insight does this title provide in understanding the poem? And is this title a good fit for the poem? So that one's just an opinion question. You kind of get to run with it. So this particular part of TPCAST really helps us take everything we've seen and everything we've done and kind of synthesize it to kind of help us draw that conclusions we need before we say what the theme is. So the new insight does the title provide to our understand the poem. So now we understand that this guy is rebellious, he wants to be independent. We get that he sees the group, even with all of its positive attributes, as a negative thing, and that he would rather be alone and alienated and isolated than be part of that group. So we already have all that going on for us. So now when we go back and we look at this word identity, do we think that that is a good fit for this poem? And I agree, because with that rebellious nature, he wants to be his own person. So he has that going for him. Yes, I do think this is a good fit. So what new insight does the poem provide? Provide understanding the poem. So this is where we have to think, this is what I know, and then when I pair it with that identity aspect, what can I piece all together about this poem? So in this particular case, the title just provides more support for the idea of the speaker having his own unique, different identity outside of the group. So that's what helps me. So it makes me know that he's focusing on him. Which I guess really helps us understand where he's coming from. Because if you read this and took it as, like if the title was something different and you read this and you took it as him constantly putting down everyone else for being part of the group, it would read and feel a lot different, versus the fact that it's called identity helps us know that he's being reflective about himself. So he's not even trying to put the group down. He's comparing himself to the group to try and make himself stand out. So that's where the title would make a difference, versus if this was called, instead of identity, it was called, I don't know, the garden. And then you would know a garden is a group of flowers. And then if you read it, then it would filter it through that gaze of, well, the garden is a group of flowers that's manicured and made to look beautiful. And, you know, gardens are nice. They're good. They're bountiful. They're productive. They're beautiful. And then he's wanting to be a weed. And if you read that through the lens of the garden aspect, weeds are bad for gardens. So it doesn't make him, it makes him seem worse than he is, versus when you think about it in terms of identity, you can be like, okay, his identity, he's looking at himself. And that reflective nature is kind of what is the saving grace for this poem. Because you could definitely read it and it make you feel like this man is just putting everyone else down around him.